Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wahoos Weekly on Blab TV. He's Charlie Hobert, I'm Erik Bremer. This is your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos on and off the field. This week the Wahoos are at home taking on the Chattanooga Lookouts, and Charlie Hobert, we were afraid of the big bad Chattanooga Lookouts until a couple weeks ago when the Wahoos came to Chattanooga and took 4 out of 6. This should be a pretty good series.
I mean, I'm super excited, obviously, even though they took that series, and I would say pretty convincingly at that. You never want to count out a team that's consistently at the top of the Southern League, at least in 2026. So I'm super excited for them to come to our place and show them what we can show them here.
It's very rare for the Wahoos to face a North Division team as frequently as the Wahoos will face the Lookouts this year. They're going to face each other 18 times head-to-head over the course of 7 weeks, in Chattanooga a couple weeks ago, in Pensacola this week, and then back to Chattanooga in the early part of the second half. Take me back to that week in Chattanooga, Charlie, because you were following along. I was there in person. What impressed you about the way the Wahoos played against the team that had the best record in the Southern League?
Well, the power, for one. I mean, Pensacola hit 13 home runs in those 6 games. 4 from Dylan Lewis, 2 from Brendan Jones, who we didn't think was going to be hitting a ton of homers this year. It was just so much fun to see that power stroke come through that consistently, and against the team that's pitched really well too. And then on the flip side of that, our starting pitching, Erik, it had been lights out. Jacob Miller was going 5+. Brandon White, before we got the call to AAA, 7 innings. Carson Milbrandt did it again, 6 innings. Luis Moreno, as an opener, was going 5 innings. They were giving this bullpen a chance to reset a little bit, and that sort of consistency gives the whole team a brand new confidence.
You mentioned the name Brandon White, and he became the first Pensacola pitcher this year to complete 7 innings. It was his second great start in a row. The week prior, he actually earned Southern League Pitcher of the Week honors by striking out 11 guys. And as it turned out, that 7-inning start was his last in a Blue Wahoos uniform because he earned a well-deserved promotion to AAA Jacksonville. A little bit surprised on the surface that Brandon White was the first guy up because he had only arrived here in Pensacola at the start of the season. However, you look into the numbers, you look at the fact that he was a 2021 draft guy, and it just took him a while to get healthy. It looks like this year he's healthy, and he's certainly pitching some of the best he's ever been as a professional.
I mean, absolutely. I think the next best guy you would point to maybe get a call is Carson Milbrandt, but Carson Milbrandt's, 21 years old? We don't have to rush Carson at this point. Brandon White's in the mid-20s now. Like you said, he's been with the organization a while, and seeing him hit this stride and doing it in a way where it's believable, you know? He's not pumping 102 and just throwing fastballs and blowing by guys. He's spotting up his pitches. He had only walked 3 batters in his 7 starts with the Wahoos, so he was locating. They were hitting him a little bit, but it wasn't all that much of hard contact. And then obviously in the last 2 starts, 6 2/3 innings, 7 innings. He's calm. He's composed out there. He looked like a leader. I mean, it was a no-brainer for the Marlins organization to call this guy up.
It's the skill set that you hope translates well to the next level. AAA Jacksonville, really every AAA team at this point in the year is dealing with a pitching staff in flux with big league call-ups and injuries. So Brandon White, someone who has given the Blue Wahoos length at AA, the hope is that he can do the same and really help that Jacksonville pitching staff.
I mean, absolutely, and that Jacksonville pitching staff, I should say, is a little depleted right now, so they're really going to take any help they can get, and a guy like Brandon White, who they know is going to throw strikes and give them a chance to go deep into games, that's going to be a really big thing, not only for Jacksonville, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but maybe for the Miami Marlins. They've been playing all right. If they find themselves in the hunt later in the season, Brandon White could come up and be a very viable late inning relief, a long relief guy, maybe make a spot start. I mean, he's really primed himself to be in a great position for this 2026 season and absolutely for the 2027 season and so on and so forth.
We had a pretty good run of former Blue Wahoos getting their big league call-ups. We had 4 in the span of 6 days. One guy, Josh Eknes, figures to be back up and down and maybe find a home long-term in the bullpen. William Kempner features a pretty impressive pitch mix that should play at the big league level. He, I know, too, wants to be at the big league level. Dax Fulton got up, and that was a long journey for him to get to the big leagues, hopefully the first of many appearances for him. One guy that the Marlins were hoping would be a regular contributor at the big league level, Robbie Snelling, made his big league debut but then went down with an injury. And certainly hope for nothing but the best for Robbie, who left a lot of friends here in Pensacola. But in his absence, there are going to be opportunities for other guys in the rotation and in the bullpen. If you can pitch well, the Marlins are probably going to have room for you.
I mean, absolutely, and that's what Brandon White is showing right now, and that's why they're going to be looking at guys like Carson Milbrandt, even though he's in his low 20s. Jacob Miller, who started to give length and pitch more consistently. I mean, when you are lacking pitching depth at the big league level, and then you go, oh, well, let's go to AAA, and they're lacking pitching depth, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this AA club, so I don't think they think they're just pitching for the fans in the stands here right now. They're pitching for this entire organization, and it can be a heavy burden to carry, but they're doing it with grace, and they're going to keep doing it.
The hope is, selfishly, that the Blue Wahoos can keep this pitching staff together, at least to some degree, until the end of the first half. Only a couple weeks remain, and the Blue Wahoos, if they play well and secure that first half South Division championship, will lock in a playoff spot come September. You were talking about the offense, and that was something that was really impressive in Chattanooga. Dylan Lewis hit 4 home runs, Fenwick Trimble hit a couple, and Brendan Jones, in front of friends and family, had a multi-homer game. It was great to see those guys at the top of the order perform well. All of them have at times been playing really well this year, but it seems like for the first time we've got all 3 of them playing really well at the same time.
Yeah, that's the key to success, Erik. I mean, you're going to get great individual performances throughout the year. Dylan Lewis, like we said, has gotten hot. Fenwick Trimble got really hot for a while. Brendan Jones has been very steady the whole season, but it's about putting it together all at the same time. And so now not only is the offense doing that, but they're coupling that with the pitching staff really getting going. I mean, it's no wonder they won 4 of 6, and I think they would tell you they had the chance to win 6 of 6, and I think they would have tell you they should have. But either way, going into Chattanooga in a brand new ballpark in front of brand new fans who are now packing the place, and to go in and take 4 of 6 off the best team in the Southern League, I mean, that's a big deal.
You mentioned the brand new ballpark, Erlanger Park. It was our first visit, so I'm going to turn it around on you, Charlie, in the couple minutes we have remaining in this segment. Ask me about Erlanger Park, because I've got thoughts, most of them positive.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, what was the first thing you noticed walking into this new park? Obviously, you went to the old park a bunch. What stood out to you right off the bat?
Well, driving in on the bus, my first impression was this is a brand new stadium, because you drive through and you walk through a dilapidated warehouse. It's a rusted out old foundry that they built the ballpark into. So it's a mixture of old and new construction. Once you get inside, it's gorgeous and everything is pristine and brand new. But even the new construction takes on the character of the old rusted out industrial area in which it was built. So very cool. And if you can look past the first impression of the rusted out buildings that surround the stadium, I think you're going to be really impressed.
Well, you talked about having some of that old style and some of that new style. There's a lot of history kind of implemented into this ballpark. Was there anything that stood out to you in terms of like old Chattanooga Lookouts history?
Yeah, on the main concourse, the Chattanooga Lookouts date back to 1885, and there's a lot of baseball history in that community. But on the concourse, they've got metal support beams, and on every single support beam, they've got an information placard about a different era of Lookouts history. You can go back to the Dodgers days, the Twins days, the Washington Senators days. You can learn about the Chattanooga Choo-Choos and Willie Mays. You can learn about Jackie Mitchell, who very famously in an exhibition game struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, I believe it was. So for people who are interested in baseball history, and I know there are a lot of them in Chattanooga, they really leaned into that side of it, something that they have, and they've, I think, fully capitalized on for the first time.
Well, let's get to the important stuff, Erik, the press box.
Yeah.
This is where you and I spend all of our time. You've seen many a press box in your days. I know all the fans at home are wondering, what's the press box like? What was the press box like? What was your impression?
Very nice in intent, in practice. Some things that I would do differently. Can't see home plate from where I sit, and the windows don't open. Aside from that, everything was great.
A1, you love to hear it. What was the experience as a whole going back to Chattanooga for the first time in a while, and what was the vibe around the park? Could you feel some electricity with the fans? Was there excitement boiling over?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we had great crowds on Friday and Saturday, more than 7,000 fans. I was happiest to see Wanda, the program lady, who was a carryover from the old days at AT&T Field. She used to hand out programs, and she would yell at the top of her lungs, "Get your programs here." They went to a digital program a few years ago, so now she just waves around a QR code on a stick. But I was so glad to see Wanda still has a home in Chattanooga. When we come back here on Wahoos Weekly, we'll talk to Ian Lewis Jr., infielder for the Blue Wahoos, who is in his first year here in Pensacola, but has already made a strong first impression. More after this on Wahoos Weekly.
At A1 Automotive, we do it all. all kinds of repairs for all kinds of vehicles. We do AC repairs, we do suspensions, we do pre-purchase inspections. We'll diagnose your problem and get it fixed. Free brake inspection. We can provide financing for any work we do. Veteran-owned, military, and first responders discounts. A1 Automotive, 403 Beverly Parkway, Pensacola.
Gill Marine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gill Marine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion, and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoos Stadium.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly on Blab TV. I'm Blue Wahoos broadcaster Erik Bremer, and our special guest this week is Blue Wahoos infielder Ian Lewis Jr. Ian, welcome to Pensacola. It's your first year here, but in a very short time you've made a lot of friends. I know you've made a priority of being very fan-friendly. How do you like playing here at Blue Wahoo Stadium?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a blessing to start off, and it's amazing having such dedicated people who come out here to support us, and I want to give it back to them in each and every way I can.
Let's start at the beginning. You are from the Bahamas, and there aren't too many baseball players who have come from the Bahamas, so I want to know what that was like growing up and how you fell in love with the game of baseball.
I'll start off with saying it was amazing. You know, as a young boy, was walking around the street playing with some friends. My mom used to go around and do her little daily walks, and I ended up on the field one day, and she left me there, man. And a coach by the name of Danny Glover, his name stuck with me forever because he got me on that field, and he put me to work. He put me to work, and I fell in love with it, even just watching it, playing video games, and that love never left.
So you mentioned your mom. What did your parents do as you were growing up?
They let me be. They let me have fun on that field, and they supported it every step of the way. They took me to every little tournament I had to go to, made sure I didn't miss a game, made sure I did what I had to do to be on that field and have some fun. And growing up in the Bahamas, like you say, baseball isn't that important, so as it got more to the point of it got serious, they really dug into it and supported me to the fullest.
Some of the other players that we've interviewed here on Wahoos Weekly come from a geographic area where it's only natural for them to root for a certain team. Carson Milbrandt grew up in the Kansas City area. He was a Royals fan. Ryan Ignafo grew up in Chicago, Cubs fan. Jacob Miller grew up kind of in Reds country up there. Who did you cheer for? Because you're kind of a baseball free agent growing up in the Bahamas. You can choose any of the teams to cheer for. Who did you end up cheering for?
So I'll say this first. I support every organization, every team, you know what I'm saying? I watch baseball that much to love everybody, but at the time it was the Yankees, you know. You had Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, Alex Rodriguez, some guys on that team I just wanted to model my game after, and like I enjoyed every second of their careers, and that's it.
I can see you emulating Robinson Cano, Derek Jeter, both middle infielders for the Yankees, because you're a middle infielder.
Yes, sir.
Were there any other positions that you played growing up that you thought you might have a chance to make it as?
Mainly I was a shortstop. I would help out the team on Saturdays as like a catcher, but other than that, it was just shortstop. As I got to professional baseball, I expanded into the outfield and found some joy in that. It's fun running around, running down some baseball. So if you ask me right now, I'll play anywhere.
Another guy who's moved from the infield to the outfield and then back again is a fellow Bahamas native who I know you're pretty close with, Jazz Chisholm Jr. He came up through the Marlins organization, and he is perhaps the best known Bahamas-born baseball player in the big leagues right now. What's your relationship like with Jazz?
That's my brother, man. Jazz came into my life when I was very young and has been there for me ever since. He made sure as a young man I knew what was good on and off the field, and made sure we did what we had to do to get where we are today. And every single second I want to thank him for that, first of all.
So he's been kind of a role model for you. What in his journey, both the ups and the downs, have helped you become a better player and person?
Setting the example, being like, even setting the standard for the Bahamian baseball players, like, this is what we have to do. We have to come out here and compete. And regardless of what's ever thrown at you, you have to do what you have to do, because we're not from somewhere that has a lot of baseball and we have something to prove. Because
the Bahamas don't have a lot of baseball, of course, they take great pride in the people who do make it, and you get to represent Team Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic. Take me through that process, because that was a way that we got to know you, not having seen you in person here in Pensacola. In March, we were able to watch you on TV knowing, hey, this guy's going to be playing for the Blue Wahoos.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. That was an amazing experience, man. Every second of it was a joy to be out there and do what you love against some of the best guys in the world, you know, representing their country, coming at it with everything they have. It was such a joy to be on that field and compete with the folks we interacted with, and even the fans. It was so energetic, and people really cared what was going on that field, and I'll never forget that experience like a day in my life.
How did you first get involved with the national team? Because the recruiting process, if you will, can be kind of funky behind the scenes.
Yes, it can be, but the Bahamas had something to do with Great Britain back in the past, and if your parents are born at a certain time, I believe you're eligible to play for that team. So shout out to my mama and my grandma, them, and we was on that team having some fun.
Joining the Marlins organization, coming over stateside, you know, a lot of people who come from Latin America or internationally in general have a bit of a culture change. What was the culture change for you? Because in the Bahamas, they speak English, and I would imagine it was an easier transition for you than a lot of the people that you were coming over with in the international signing class.
I would say so. It was pretty easy. And even when I signed, I went to the Dominican and got to see their culture and learn what was happening over there. So I got the little Spanish taste before I came over to Florida. So Florida really was basically like the Bahamas. You got the beaches, the nice hot weather, so it was nothing crazy. And the people were amazing, sweet people in Florida.
Pensacola or Bahamas, which has better beaches? And you can answer honestly.
I haven't been to enough Pensacola beaches yet, so I'm going to stick with the Bahamas.
Hard to beat the Bahamas.
Hard to beat them. Oh, I love them.
So you had a kind of an interesting situation a couple years ago where you were progressing through the Marlins minor league system, but you had some visa issues and you could not enter the United States legally. Luckily for the Marlins, they have a state-of-the-art complex in the Dominican Republic, and you took those lemons and turned it into lemonade, as they say, and you were able to make the most of that opportunity. Take me through that process, because it's something that a lot of players obviously don't want to have happen, but you, again, made the most of a tough situation.
100%. I would like to say, first of all, thank you to the organization for even sticking by my side through that situation with the visa process happening, and the Dominican was amazing, man. It blessed me in so many ways that I would have never imagined, because I went in there with an open mind to be ready to work at any particular moment in that season. So going over there and the coaches having open arms and allowing me to do what I need to do to stay ready was an experience I'll never forget. And the lessons learned there with even the guys from the front office coming back and making sure, like, hey, you're going to be okay. Like, keep working and keep doing what you have to do. The family members and friends who was reaching out, like, made the Dominican like home for me. I look back and all the players who were there who aren't there anymore, I still call and text them to make sure, hey, I remember where I was and I remember how it was there. And I just want to, like, take all that in as I come out on this field, because that is what, like, really made me who I am today.
The first chance for you to play in front of fans stateside here in the Marlins organization was with Single A Jupiter. And that's the spring training complex, but it also offered you an opportunity to play games that mattered and, as it turned out, play some very meaningful games down the stretch. What did that experience playing really meaningful playoff caliber games do for you long term?
It built a connection with those guys that I played with that I will never forget. Having that type of experience and energy and fun in the clubhouse is something I couldn't expect on my first professional season, like playing in front of people. So I enjoyed that to the fullest, and even Prado himself was there, and that learning what we learned from him and being there through the whole season and seeing the ins and outs of professional baseball during the long season was amazing all the way. I'll leave it at that.
Well, yeah, Blue Wahoos manager Nelson Prada, prior to this, was managing with the Jupiter Hammerheads, and now you get him again at Double-A. How is his managerial style different in A-ball as it is in Double-A? Because now he knows that he's dealing with guys a little bit more advanced professionally.
100%. I take it just as the players, the coaches have to grow as well, and he's doing an amazing job each and every day to do what he has to do on his part to make sure we can go there and perform for you guys. So I would always speak positively of Prada because he is someone special to me from my first professional season.
All right, so going from the Bahamas to Jupiter, Florida, maybe not so much of a culture shock. Going from Jupiter to Beloit, Wisconsin, probably a little bit of a different cultural experience. What do you remember about your time in Beloit? Because, again, you left a lot of fans of yours behind when you left the Sky Card.
I remember it was a blessing to get caught up when I did because the weather wasn't so cold. But it was a fun experience, you know, getting out of the Florida area and seeing different parts of the world that I've never seen before, traveling around the field to see the areas around and like realizing like, wow, this is completely different. The fans, interacting with them, trying to understand like, what do you guys have going on here? It was a special moment for me, and even though I wasn't there that long, I built a lot of connections with the people there, and I tried my best to give everything I had for you guys on that field and off the field to make sure you remember Ian Lewis was here.
In your time in Beloit, did you ever get out to a supper club or have a fish fry or do anything that was uniquely Wisconsin that you couldn't do anywhere else?
I would say I walked a couple of trails and like saw some animals that I would never see in the Bahamas. Heard some things, seen some things. Tried every possible food place that they had in the area to really get in the culture of what they had going on, and it was all good.
All right, so we've gone pretty much your entire career journey until Pensacola. You joined the Blue Wahoos. You were on the opening day roster. What were your goals heading into the season? And now, almost at the halfway point, do you think that you are on track with what you thought this season would look like?
Same goal every year, man. I want to come in and I want to get better each and every day due to the fact that I don't want to set a limit on myself. I feel as if I am blessed by the man above with a lot of things on the baseball field, and I want to fine-tune them to the best of my ability and just put on a show for the people watching, you know, the people supporting, all my friends and family. This is me giving it my all every second, having the best time of my life.
Speed is a big part of your game. Speed is a big part of the Blue Wahoos game. The most stolen bases in Double-A. They reached 100 stolen bases in, I think, their 37th game of the year. So it's going to continue to be a big priority for the Marlins organization. How have they changed the way that they teach base running? Because you are naturally fast, but you're also learning some of the tips and tricks to get the most out of the speed that you have.
I wouldn't say change. They just fine-tuning the things that they research, and I feel as if everybody buying into it and like doing what we have to do in that field, and the product showing. You know, we're being aggressive. We're doing what we have to do daily in practice to make sure that we cut angles, hit that bag right, and make sure I get some good jumps out there. So shout out to the organization for making sure we have that in that bag.
Offensively, one of the things that makes you unique is that you are a switch hitter. You're the only switch hitter on this team, and you've had success from both sides of the plate, even though it took us until the 40th game of the year to actually face a left-handed starting pitcher. When did you become a switch hitter, and how does that complicate or simplify the way that you prepare for a game?
I started switch hitting when I was about 10, 11 years old. Coach Jerron Sands, Albert Cartwright, and Greg Burrows. You know, I saw Lucius Fox, for example, hitting when he was 15, 16, about to sign, and I was like, it's pretty cool. And then I started doing research, Chipper Jones and guys like that, and I said, I want to make sure I get that in my back pocket. So I picked up lefty, and I really bought into it and like took every at bat, lefty, lefty, righty, lefty, to make sure this was good by the age I needed it to be. And with that being said, the preparation, I would say, is the same. You know, I have to take care of the right side, how I take care of the left side, two completely different hitters, and I understand that, my coach understands that. So we plan accordingly to the pitchers and the guys in the bullpen. They have that day, and we go from there.
You said you're two completely different hitters from the left side and the right side. Obviously, once the ball is hit, you're every bit as fast.
Yes, sir.
But how would you describe the left-handed version of yourself as opposed to the right-handed version of yourself?
I would say he's a little more swag. You know, he's more comfortable, had more at-bats over there, and he likes to have some fun. So he isn't just trying to poke the ball around all the time, but he's trying to swing.
Okay, so I'm picturing in my mind's eye growing up watching Robinson Cano, because I feel like there's a little bit of Robinson Cano in your left-handed swing. I have that right?
100%. Robinson Cano, Ken Griffey Jr. I was always around Jazz, and he had the same swing since a little boy, so it's like those guys with the sweet swing on the left side really fell on me.
How about the right-hand side?
The right-hand side, ooh. See, I just like to play with him and make sure I get some doubles and some knocks in there, and if I run into it, I run into it. That's just what I did in the gym that day.
everyone, as they get older and they get stronger, they grow into a little bit more power, but it seems like that's happening for you this year here in Pensacola. What have you done to try and elevate the ball a little bit more and turn those doubles into home runs?
Consistent work with my hitting coaches, the hitting coordinators we have in the organization understand that, hey, you have some strength you could use, and we want to put that into gameplay. And we've been working consistently, not only this year, but years before this, making sure that I could elevate some baseballs and do what I have to do, adjustments to swing, body, whatever it is.
All right, we've talked about the base running, we've talked about the hitting. How about the defense? Because I know that in your vision of what you can be, defense is a strength of yours. Your versatility is a strength of yours.
100%.
How do you stay fresh at the different positions, knowing that you could be called on to play any position at any time?
Staying consistent with your routine, man. You know what you have to do to make plays at each and every position, and I know Prouder takes pride in that, Hector takes pride in that. Some guys in this organization really make sure we do what we have to do on that defensive side, because that's something that's really important, not only to us, but the pitchers. We got to take care of our pitchers, and we got to take care of our guys, and that leads most of the time to us playing some good baseball.
You seem like the type of person who, with time, can become a clubhouse leader, and that does just take time. It's hard for the
100%.
newest person in the clubhouse to take on that leadership role, but how important is that to you as you get more comfortable here in Pensacola, maybe spend most of the season here on your way up to AAA? Why is that so important to you?
It's important to me, man. I just want to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? The guys who in this clubhouse who had more time than they played with me before, and they understand, like, I do what I have to do with my actions, and I let it speak for itself. I'm not here to come here and push anybody around. I want to enjoy time with you guys, build a nice bond so we could take this further than baseball, and I just want to enjoy every second of it with you folks.
Before we go, I know you've got a lot of fans who follow you from afar on social media. I know because they like and share every time you do something good, but why don't you give them a shout out before we say goodbye?
To all the folks supporting, all the folks wishing well on Ian Lewis, I would like to thank y'all so much, and I pray that y'all continue to stay with the journey. God bless.
All those fans of Ian Lewis Jr., thank you as well for supporting the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. As long as Ian Lewis Jr. here is with us, we appreciate your support, and hopefully it's on to AAA and beyond for Ian Lewis Jr. here before too long. For my broadcast partner, Charlie Hobert, this is Erik Bremer signing off. Thanks for watching this episode of Wahoos Weekly.